glassy seas, but an ominous sky greeted the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team out today deep in the Gulf of Cagliari, the Golfu de Casteddu in local Sardinian, and with a forecast for the wind to increase significantly, but some debate and conflict over quite how much and when. It was a tricky day for the team's meteorologists. It was even harder actually on the water, as the team docked out from their quite astonishingly well-appointed base in the Port of Cagliari at midday, having spent the morning waiting for the wind.
Obviously a strange day, first no breeze at all, and then breeze, easterly breeze and swell. Can you talk us,
Yeah.
Are you happy with your day?
Yeah, we went out, we knew the breeze was coming at some stage. We didn't expect a quick build like this. So we went out with the J1 just for fun mainly, because there was no wind at all. And then when we dropped the J1, we went straight to the J4 because we read more over 18 knots already. So when we start sailing upwind, we have an average of 18, 19 knots, and so we did a few takes upwind, and then we decided to bear away to come close to shore to try to find a little bit less swell. And we did bear off in over 20 knots, and it was fine, but with such a small boat, when it's so wavy and with this wind direction, it's getting bumpy pretty quickly. You know it's getting hard, and you know as well if you slow down too much, you're gonna. There is a chance you could flip over, which was part of the game. We'd ride the boat back pretty quickly, and we could. The plan was to keep sailing, but then the breeze was for more than 5 minutes over 21, 22 knots, and we decided to drop the sail, mainly for the wave and not for the wind. So we did a few checks on the way back, and we discovered with this wind direction, we could sail a little bit closer to shore. So it's a lesson taken, but it was good. I think we had a pretty solid week after the damage we had to the mast, and every day you spend, every minute you spend in the water is a lesson taken.
So, is there any damage today?
No. We could keep sailing, and again that was the plan. But again, I had a chat with Jimmy and Ruggi, and I asked them, "What do you guys think?" We could sail, but the problem again when it's so bumpy and you touch the water, if you just slow down, the first thing is broaching, and then. The problem of this boat, you cannot follow enough in terms of speed the board drop, when you are at low speed, and that is where the boat capsized. But I mean, it's fine.
So regarding the crew, we've seen some days with 6 crews on board and 4. Is that something you've been working on?
Yeah. That was the plan since day one, to go with more ballast, basically, a more active moment, and we're gonna keep playing that until the end. And we're going to see the big guys as well to start jumping on board to get used to the speed, because these boats are pretty fast. We reached the other day over 44 knots, and so it's good fun.
So, considering the conditions in Barcelona, would you say you've learned something with?
Well, obviously, as much time you spend in wavy condition, better it is for the long-term goal. But we know we are sailing in a small boat, so we know the limit of the boat, the size of the boat is pretty clear. So we know we can sail easily up to 0.7, 0.8 meters as well. Above that is a kind of surviving mode, but it's always good. I mean, upwind is not a problem, it's mainly downwind, obviously, because you're going faster, you sail higher, and it's easier to lose the control, but again, it's part of the game.
This is the Sailing World on Water for December 9th, 2022. Highlights of the sport, globally, in the last 7 days. It was a welcome sight to see Sir Ben Ainslie leading from the front today out in a very placid and peaceful, if somewhat chilly Palma Mallorca, and bringing to this America's Cup cycle a new acronym, that is straight out of Formula One, we presume. In interview, Ainslie repeatedly referred to the HMI, the human-machine interface, that crossover point where technology must relent to the human touch and vice versa.
Ben, if you had to design a day for tow testing, it seems like today on Palma Bay was like a mill pond for you. It was virtually perfect, wasn't it?
It was a perfect conditions for tow testing, hardly any wind and dead flat water, and it's amazing how clear the water is out here as well. I think for me that was probably the biggest thing that stuck out, the clarity of the water, so perfect for tow testing.
Perfect. Now, what were your objectives when you went out there today? We know the boat's bristling with sensors. Was it all about data gathering, or are you still checking the boat?
Yeah, a bit of both really. Certainly picking up some data from the sensors and also trying to get a bit of manual flight control and a bit of autopilot control with an eye on getting sailing hopefully next week.
Now, 4 of you on the boat today, yourself, Giles, Luke Parkinson and one more. Lee McMillan. So what was everybody doing on the boat? You and Giles were in the helming stations. What does everybody do on this small boat?
Yeah, so you have two helms and obviously two pilots, 2 trimmers. But you know, depending where you are on the course and what manoeuvre you're doing, pretty much everyone gets involved. Certainly, you know, the helms get involved with different controls on the yacht. So again, the HMI is pretty important, and just trying out some different setups and some different personnel using different HMI at different times. So I think that'll be an interesting feature as we develop with sailing these boats and then getting into the 75.
4 of you on the boat, but I feel like there was probably a lot more people involved in the testing today. Are you live linked back to the Mercedes base in the UK?
Yeah, we are both here in Palma and also back to Brackley, and that's going to be an important shift for us, I think, trying to get that data back to Brackley and all of our engineers there. They're used to it in Formula One. I mean, we've done it a little bit with the Cup, we did it in Bermuda, getting a lot of data back to Portsmouth where we were based then. So yeah, that's working really well for us. That link-up's fine.
Today we saw, I think, double figures, 10 runs, maybe 9 or 10, maybe one more at the end. Top speeds were kind of around 30 on the rib as we were trying to kind of match your speed. Is that what it felt like to you, speed-wise?
Yeah, we were working for a range of different speeds. Actually, probably the most interesting stuff was when we were more on the close to stalling the foil, so you know, around the 15 knot range, something like that. But you know, we're trying lots of different speeds, lots of different setups, as you can imagine, just trying to get the data for the designers, but also from, as I said, from an HMI perspective, how the sailors on board the yacht were able to control the boat through different speeds.
You come away from this day feeling happy? I feel like you've probably gathered more data today than on the previous times the boat's been out towing.
Yeah, it was a good day in terms of data gathering from a tow testing perspective. And now, like I said, we're looking forward to getting in, shift after that now is to get into sailing operations and then start pushing the boat through that, and all the time getting that critical feedback and data for the design team.
The lack of ability to use the towing mast, has that impacted your ability to gather the data, do you think?
Yeah, the only thing that's really impacted is with a towing mast you can get some towing data with just one foil in the water. So that's the one thing we can't do without a towing mast, but we'd rather have a proper mast than a towing mast when it comes to sailing.
That's a very good way of putting it. So out sailing next week, that's the hope? Yeah,
that's what we're working towards now. Guys have been working really, really hard to get the HMI going for that and get the rig up, sails up, and get the boat ripping around Palma Bay. That's what we're looking forward to.
Me too, looking forward to it. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
It's leg 0, which means Team Malaysia is on the way back across the Atlantic to Lanzarote, Spain, to ready from their next race, the ocean race, the crude race around the world starting in January. This how difficult it is to film life on a racing yacht. It's also day 10 of the Malaysia Sea Explorer delivery across the Atlantic to Alicante, and the crew is finally foiling downwind. After what has seemed like endless weather delays over the past couple of months, finally Horonuku got to stretch its legs on a dry Lake Gardner, with breeze that is edging closer into the required zone for world record attempts.
Yeah, 105 should be your heading. Copy, go below you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Finally to be able to sail on a dry surface is incredible with a decent amount of runway. So, you know, we only sailed in sort of up to 20 knots previously, and to have a bit more runway now on a really beautiful surface just makes a huge difference, and it's a totally different craft to sail. Absolutely feel like I'm getting through the gearbox well now, and well over 180 kilometres an hour, over 190 kilometres an hour. We've been over 200 kilometres an hour run after run after run. So feel like I'm just sort of getting into sixth gear a couple of times, which is really nice. So pushing over 200 k's an hour is a really nice feeling, and the craft feels like it's got plenty more left in it. So I just have to be brave enough to sort of keep pushing it. Hopefully we get some more wind that I can do that as well.
How about that? Yeah, not too bad. Just holding a bit longer here if I can. Just to get a little bit more out of it.
This is the onboard camera when the land yacht reaches 200 kilometers an hour. It's December, and that means it's time for the big boats to race around Sydney Harbour. The John-winning junior skippered maxi yacht, Andu Comanche, produced a masterclass of high-speed sailing to win line honours in the Solar's Big Boat Challenge on Sydney Harbour today. Meanwhile, the Jim Cooney skippered and owned Volvo 70 Willow was declared the overall winner. Under glorious sun and in southerly 15-knot winds that suited perfectly, Andu Comanche was first to finish the Tulap Harbour course. After reaching a maximum speed of 27 knots, she crossed the finish line off Rushcutters Bay in 53 minutes 58 seconds. In Andu Comanche's wake and in order were the three other Maxes: Christian Beck's Law Connect in 55 minutes 18 seconds, Peter Harburg's Blackjack, skippered by Mark Bradford, in 56 minutes 35 seconds, and the Oatly family-owned Hamilton Island Wild Oats, skippered by Mark Richards, in 59 minutes 27 seconds. We had a good day. We started where we wanted to start, said Winning Jr. We just want wind. We were lucky that we had a nice reach off the start to be able to be first at the bottom mark. We are thankful to the weather gods for giving us that wind. First to finish behind the Maxes was Willow, 5th in 1 hour 4 minutes 8 seconds, followed by the Grant Warrington skippered Botton 80 Stefan Racing, 10 seconds further behind, then Anthony and David Johnston's Reichel Apu 72 UIM Group, skippered by Marcus Ashley Jones, in 1 hour 7 minutes 39 seconds. The Duncan Hines skippered Reichel Apu 66 Alive, owned by Philip Turner, was just another 2 seconds behind, followed by Whisper, David Griffith, No Limit, David Gotze, and Moneypenny, Sean Langman, in that order. It was a really exciting race. We had a solid start. We were quite happy with our position, said Cooney afterwards, adding that while everything went to plan in the race overall, the crew recovered well after one hiccup, a furling issue relatively early in the race. The Solar's Big Boat Challenge is one of the final lead-up events to the Rolex Sydney Hobart Yacht Race. While the Rolex Sydney Hobart is a vastly different race, the Solar's Big Boat Challenge was still witnessed by a strong spectator fleet that provided a superb taste of what to expect for the Boxing Day start. After some exciting jostling for position, the fleet of 11 boats set off from Point Piper, with bows virtually aligned towards the first mark at Canny Point. Law Connect was the fastest off the start, but soon Andu Comanche picked up pace to sweep by and take a commanding lead. Andu Comanche reached the first mark after about 11 minutes. On the upwind leg to Shark Island, Andu Comanche extended her lead to 43 seconds over Law Connect, followed by Black Jack. Hamilton Island Wild Oats fell off the pace to turn at Shark Island a little more than 2 minutes down. Over the last lap of the race, Andu Comanche consolidated her lead for a trouble-free run to the finish after passing the Canny Point and Shark Island marks once more. The Solar's Big Boat Challenge also decided the outcome of the 2022 Australian Maxi Championship, which had 10 boats competing, 4 in the Maxi division and 6 in the Mini Maxi division. After last weekend's opener, the Cabbage Tree Island race, and the 2 passage races in Sydney on Monday, Hamilton Island Wild Oats, Andu Comanche and Law Connect were level on 7 points in the Maxi division, on line honours. As a result of the Solar's Big Boat Challenge, Maxi division honours went to Andu Comanche on 8 points, from Law Connect on 9 points, and then Hamilton Island Wild Oats and Black Jack on 11 and 13 points respectively. Law Connect was the Maxi division's overall winner on 8 points, followed by Hamilton Island Wild Oats on 10 points, Black Jack on 10.5 points, and Andu Comanche on 12.5 points. In the Mini Maxi division, URM Group was crowned champion on 6 points, ahead of Willow, Alive, Whisper, Moneypenny and No Limit. The boat is well prepared. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, said URM Group owner Anthony Johnston afterwards. We sailed pretty conservatively. We thought we would take a cautious approach. We had a few points up our sleeves. We're happy with where the boat is. The crew is going really well. We are quite confident, ahead of the 2022 Rolex Sydney Hobart. It was a rather welcome late morning crane-in and a relaxed 1 p.m. dock-out, for an afternoon in Pensacola that promised little for the crew of Patriot, with a forecast of a dying breeze, but delivered rather a lot.
Hi, my name is Juan Meseguer. I'm the sail designer of America Magic for the next America's Cup.
Nice one. Can you tell us how everything went today?
Today was a really good day actually. It was very marginal taking off or foiling conditions, and we took a lot of good actions and good maneuvers out of today, which we thought the wind was going to be really bad, but actually was really good.
We had a couple of pauses. Were there any breakages today?
No, we had some issues as always, with some of the buttons, but nothing major, and for sure we're going to be fixing for tomorrow.
Okay. We saw some new faces on board today. Who were they and what are their positions?
I think they are one of the cyclists. Actually, I met them today at lunch. That was my first time, to be honest. I think they are trying new people and new cyclists and basically understand better the cycling system and how to operate.
Okay. The diamond-shaped cutouts in the aft of the mast, what function do they serve?
I cannot tell you, but it's helping with some of the maneuvers and takeoffs and helping to understand better a lot of the aerodynamics. But to be honest, it's not much that every other team has done in the past.
Okay. I think I remember last time air was pumped through there. Can you comment on that?
I don't think there's any air coming out of that, to be honest.
All right. The trimmers always seem to be in the top hole of the glue plate adjuster. Is there a problem with taking out twist, or why are we always in the top hole?
No, we're just learning how to do better with the clue board and how to pick the right position, and basically we're playing around, looking around just to see what is the best position for the future.
Okay. Is the tack of the jib adjustable underway?
I think most of the teams have a jib Cunningham, and there's nothing new. Yeah, we adjust a little bit the jib Cunningham. It's part of the selling trim circuit.
What are the hot button focus points for now until Christmas?
Basically, this is our systems period. We're going to make sure every single system works as best as we can and improve every other day until we got it perfectly for the next boat.
If there was a such thing as a typical day in the Cup, what would it be for you?
This could be a typical day in Barcelona. So for us, it was a really good sailing day. We got really good maneuvers where we jibe very nicely and tack very nicely. So I think it's very good. What
boxes do you need to check throughout the day?
It's all about systems, to be honest. And we just put a list of priorities for the day. We're going to try this system and other system, and we're just taking off and making sure they all work for the next, just how to improve it daily.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Hola, aquí Juan Meseguer en Pensacola. Hemos tenido un día fantástico, condiciones un poco casi que no se conseguía foilear, pero lo hemos conseguido, hemos hecho un gran día navegando y estamos muy contentos de haber sacado provecho del día de hoy.
The huge racing trimaran Spindrift Sails of Change is 30 meters by 30 meters, and it is getting ready to start the Jules Verne Trophy race non-stop around the world. Do you know what the crew's standby days are like? What do they do while waiting for the D-Day? Remember, at any time, they may be required to get on board and start the clock.
Je regarde où?
Je regarde qui?
C'est vrai que d'être à Brest déjà c'est une étape importante. On a hâte d'avoir maintenant une météo. C'est pas pour les prochains jours, donc c'est clair qu'il faut s'occuper. Mais bon, déjà il y a les fichiers météo. On a une mise à jour des fichiers 2 fois par 24 heures, une fois le matin, une fois le soir. Ça occupe une bonne partie du temps, et après c'est aussi comme tout sportif, continuer à s'entretenir, voir l'équipe aussi tous les 15 jours, à se retrouver ensemble pour faire du sport ensemble. Voilà, nous on a plein aussi de projets philanthropiques qu'il faut s'occuper, des activités professionnelles, donc c'est bien chargé. L'important c'est d'avoir une fenêtre. Maintenant c'est le propre des records, il faut être patient.
On est déjà content que le bateau soit là, c'est une bonne étape de fête. J'ai une petite routine quotidienne forcément sur la météo, puisque avec Yann et Jean-Yves, on est en charge de décider quand est-ce qu'on en part ou ne part pas. Donc il y a déjà ça, tous les 15 jours on organise un point avec CLS sur les icebergs. Et autour de ça, on a des séances de sport à la base de Saint-Philibert. Puis essayer de recharger les batteries à fond avant de partir autour du monde, quoi.
C'est une période assez particulière parce qu'il faut effectivement à la fois être prêt à partir à 4 jours à peu près, avec son sac prêt, ses affaires prêtes à partir, et puis en même temps on regarde tous la météo, donc on sait très bien, on est capable de voir à une semaine, 10 jours s'il y a une fenêtre qui arrive ou pas, et donc il faut à la fois occuper son temps effectivement et puis en même temps être prêt et rester sur le qui-vive, donc c'est pas évident. Globalement on essaye de s'occuper en faisant du sport, en continuant à vivre normalement, mais tout en sachant qu'il y a ce petit truc derrière qu'il faut être prêt à dégainer rapidement, quoi. Donc moi c'est une forme d'habitude parce que je crois que c'est mon 8e.
On va occuper le stand-by en se reposant, en essayant de continuer à faire du sport. Et puis forcément on a un œil sur les routages. Et on guette évidemment le moindre signe que la route vers les mers du Sud s'ouvre à nous. Pour l'instant, ce n'est pas tout à fait encore le cas, mais voilà, on a forcément tendance à regarder le matin les routages météo.
Me reposer, faire des forces, du temps en famille à fond, et puis regarder la météo forcément un peu tous les jours.
Weather, sports training and other activities. The crew of the Maxi Trimaran Sails of Change has plenty to do before the start. Now, here's Donna.
Donc maintenant qu'on est à Brest et que le bateau est ici, dans l'attente, je veux continuer à mener mes actions philanthropiques. Mais surtout, ce que je me réjouis, si j'ai un peu de temps pour moi, c'est de pouvoir m'occuper de mes animaux. On a beaucoup d'animaux qu'on sauve et qu'on récupère à la maison. Et là, je sais qu'on a plusieurs types d'animaux qui vont arriver avant la fin de l'année, avant l'hiver. Et donc, je vais aussi m'occuper de ça et ça va me vider la tête et ça va me faire du bien.
Eh ben, on va regarder la météo tous les jours et espérer que ça parte tous les jours. Et puis on va se maintenir au courant, se maintenir en forme surtout. Et puis un petit travail psychologique permanent à faire, prêt à partir à n'importe quel moment.
Mon temps de stand-by, c'est déjà de rester en forme parce qu'on sait que certaines années, ça peut être long le stand-by. J'espère que cette année, non, mais ça peut être long. Donc faire du sport avec toute l'équipe. Une partie de l'équipe, ceux qui habitent en Bretagne, on fait du sport ensemble. Et aussi profiter de la famille, des enfants, et de faire du bricolage qu'on n'a pas pu faire à la maison. Donc voilà, et aussi regarder les fichiers météo, même si on n'est pas navigateur, on a tendance tous les matins à regarder ce qui se passe pour voir ce qu'on a hâte de partir. Ouais.
Moi, je pense que je vais assez facilement m'occuper en tout cas. Non, déjà, on va regarder un peu la météo, pas tous les jours, mais presque. Et après, c'est sympa, on a quand même pas mal d'entraînement physique dans la semaine, donc voilà, continuer à se préparer physiquement. Je suis pressé de partir, mais bon, s'il faut attendre jusque fin janvier, on attendra jusque fin janvier, mais je vais m'occuper en tout cas, ça c'est sûr.
Les journées de stand-by, ça dépend des journées, mais globalement, on peut dire que dans une semaine, il va y avoir de l'entretien physique régulier. Moi, je ne suis pas très loin de la base à la Trinité, donc je viens régulièrement et on peut profiter de la salle de musculation. On fait au minimum déjà 2 séances de musculation à la base par semaine. On bien faire des sports un peu nature aussi, que ce soit vélo, de route ou du kite, tranquillement, sans aller se blesser, mais naviguer tranquillement en kite et tout.